I feel like I'm cheating on friends because I have been not super loyal to them. They were like my go-to for so long.
When people mention your name in a room today, people are going to feel something and people are going to think of something. That is your brand.
It's like if you date a guy and they keep saying, I'm a good guy. It's like, why are you telling me you're a good guy? Like, that's just
red flag.
The case, right?
How do I get more leads?
How do I stand out in my market?
Is it unprofessional to talk about my kids on Instagram?
Should I have one account or two?
Do I really need a personal brand as a real estate agent?
We are the Modern Agent Marketing Girls. We are 2 agents turned marketing experts who believe you can become the go-to real estate girl in your market all because you are you. I'm Chelsea Peterson, founder and CEO of Modern Agent Social Club.
And I'm Kayla Fox, Modern Agent's content creator. Let us be your guide as we talk about what it means to market your real estate business the modern way.
So refill your favorite beverage, open your notes app, and get ready to build a business and a brand you're obsessed with. Let's go. Good morning, marketing girls. Hi, Kayla.
Hey, welcome back to another episode. I am excited about this one because we're talking about personal branding today, which is the whole heartbeat of the podcast, of Modern Agent Social Club, all the things, but we don't always just dive deep into just personal branding. And that's today.
Before you click off of this thinking, okay, I don't need a personal brand or I already have one, let's just do a little test. This episode is for you if you feel like, do I really need a personal brand? Or maybe you think you don't. I would really encourage you to listen before you click off and think well, that's not for me. Just listen through till the end of today. You'll definitely have a takeaway that will better your social media, your marketing, and your business. Lastly, though, if you just want to elevate your current brand and you want to just continue to make it better and stronger so that you're more memorable, this episode is also for you. So we're really honestly, at the end of the day, we're talking to the agents who are ambitious, who have the drive to better the way that they're perceived and talked about, better their reputation. And honestly, if we break down just what the definition of a brand is, this might bring some clarity to you if you're like, do I need one or not? Do I need one or not? A brand is a unique name, design, symbol, or feature that identifies a product or service, distinguishing it from competitors and shaping customer perception. It's a combination of tangible and intangible elements, reputation, promises, and emotional connections that build trust and create value for both customers and you. So if you hear that definition and think I don't need one, then I don't think anyone thinks that. And no one listening thinks that. So let's just dive into it. Before we get into the bulk of today, I was thinking about how everyone has a brand that you would know of, right? So I was thinking about okay, Abby Jimenez has a brand. Colleen Hoover has a brand. Ellen Hildebrand has a brand. They're all authors. They all have brand. Even Emily Henry. They're all Emily Henry and Abby Jimenez are same genre, different brands. It's such a defining thing that makes you be able to sit there and tell your friend, hey, go read Abby Jimenez's new book.
Right.
Or what did you think of that one? You're able to talk about it because they have a brand. So do clothing stores. I even think of Lululemon versus Aloe. Mm-hmm. They're pretty similar, but they still have their own brand.
Yeah.
They have their own things and they come across differently where you know the difference between the two. And then I thought the only people who really don't always have brands are service-based industries. So real estate agents, lenders, it could be an HVAC company. What else is a service?
A carpet cleaner, a roofer. Yeah.
And I was like, why do service-based industries not have brands always? And I think it's because most people in those industries just think well, they'll call me when they need me. So think about when you say, when you're ready to buy, I'm here. Or when you're ready to sell, let me know. When you're ready to buy or sell, if you know anyone looking, we're always just immediately connected to the definitive result of buying or selling, but not being known prior, not being the one that you think of or talk about at dinner or tell a friend about when you're on a walk or at book club or at yoga. If we want to be the people, the name that people are thinking of in all those scenarios, we have to be more than just the one who's available when the time comes. We have to be the one they're thinking of all the time.
Yeah.
When they think about renovating a kitchen or they think about their neighbor's house that got listed or they think about, maybe I do really maybe we do need an upgrade. Like maybe we shouldn't wait till X happens. Like, or maybe we should get that investment property. Like if you want to be that person and get all those referrals, you have to have the brand because otherwise no one's going to think of you. So that's what we're here to do today. Kayla, do you want to reveal what we're walking them through?
Yes. So if you haven't heard yet through some of our ads on the podcast, we actually have a freebie that you can download and kind of use it to follow along with this episode or download it after you're done listening and kind of go through it yourself. But it is called Personal Brand by Friday. Now, full disclosure, does it take longer than 4 or 5 days to build a brand? Yes. However, like Chelsea said, we all already have brands because even in the midst of that definition that you gave us that was almost like complex and like, okay, yeah, that's true, or what is that really saying? It's saying like your reputation is your brand. Everyone's known for something. When they think of your name, they feel something. They could feel indifference. That's a part of your brand too. That's not a good thing. They could feel like excited. They could feel like, like any of those things. So the truth is, when people mention your name in a room today, people are going to feel something and people are going to think of something. That is your brand. Now, what's terrifying about that is Lord knows what they're thinking, right? So, what we want to encourage you to do is like to really take control of the narrative here and to make a few deliberate, intentional decisions through this whole guide, but also as you continue to market your business, as you continue to show up online, even how you continue to show up to appointments. If you make a few intentional, deliberate, very carefully thought out decisions that those are the little tiny things that can actually like build up the perception in someone's brain of what you want them to think about you. Then when your name comes up or when they suddenly need an agent or whatever, like that'll be their go-to. Like that'll be like their brain's already been wired to think that thing and that's what they're going to think. They're not going to be like, "Who is that?" or "I think I heard of her," or "I don't know." They're going to be like, "Yep, she's the one that does this." Done. Decision made.
And the best part is you can take that, the decisions you make through today and through taking those first steps, and you can bring them into social media, into your marketing, into email marketing, and everything. Like Kayla said, even in real life. And that will happen faster than you could even think possible because you have the ability to accelerate it based on how much you do with what you're going to learn today. So, how much you decide to put on your stories in a post, branding your photos. We're going to talk about all that today, but you can literally accelerate how fast someone starts talking about your brand the way you want them to by implementing these things today. Even I want you to do this like as a little homework assignment too after the episode, but think about your favorite brands. How would you define them in 3 words or less? Like if I
Mm-hmm.
had to define Lululemon, like I would think wellness, put together, moms. Like I know it's not just for moms, but I think of that. Like moms in their like workout clothes doing school drop off. Like I picture that image. Like what would you say? Like what 3 words would you use to describe some of your favorite brands that you follow? Or like you could take even Justin Bieber or onto his wife who has roads. Like what descriptive words would you use? Like they're all so different and that's why they are so successful. And you are no different as an agent. You are not an
Yeah.
exception to this rule. If anything, you have so much power in this because you are a local business. And first and foremost, if you can bring this brand to life to the people who already know you, they already know you and like you and are your neighbor and went to school with you and have kids on the same sports team. And now they layer that brand on top in their brain and they think, okay, Chelsea's the one who blank. She's the
Yeah.
realtor who blank. Like it becomes so much bigger than if you're just a brand online trying to reach the masses. Like you
Yeah.
can really make an impact so quickly with this. And I want you to take that and let that empower you to like make fast moves. Like don't sit with this episode for weeks. Like I want you today to take something right away from it and obviously download the freebie to be your companion through it, but and start taking the actions because it will make such a big difference, not just in the look of your social media. This is not just about like, oh, your social media will look more aesthetic. A brand will make your entire life better.
Yeah.
And Kayla and I talk about this all the time, so I won't get super deep on that today, but it truly will flow to every single piece of your life.
Yeah. Even that whole like 3-word exercise. What's 3 words you think about when you think of, even like Taco Bell or any place at all. Like, when you think about anything at all, those 3 words. I want you to turn that around and ask yourself, what 3 words do you want people to say when they think about you? You know what I mean? I remember years ago, I feel like it took me a while personally to be confident in my skills as a creative. I always felt like deep down it was maybe like fluffy or like not actually a skill or like a gift, but just like something I like to like doodle on the side or whatever. But I remember when I finally was like, no, I want people to look at me and think she's creative, or I want them to hear my name and think that. One of the things that I did was I thought about like, okay, like if that's a word that I want them to think of, do I dress in a way that make people think that? Do I, and it started to impact all of those things. So just having that one word, like, that made it kind of like a North Star for me as I continued like developing my personal brand and figuring out what that looks like for me. Everything started to fall into place, and the things that I put into place all matched that. And now I assume people think that about me. You know what I mean? And so even doing that 3-word exercise, or even start with one word, like, what's one word you want people to say when they think of you, more than just realtor, more than agent, even more than just your city name. What's one word? And let that kind of be your North Star.
I want to disrupt your thought process, not yours, but the listeners. Make it a word that is visual to some degree, because I don't want you to think like integrity, because this is my hot take. If you're a realtor, you should have integrity. We shouldn't have to tell someone you have integrity. It's like if you date a guy and they keep saying, "I'm a good guy." It's like, why are you telling me you're a good guy? Like, that just should be
Red flag.
the case, right?
Yeah.
I listen to Giggly Squad, and they're always like, if a guy ever tells you he's a good guy, run. So that's how I think about it. If you're saying you have integrity as a realtor, run. No, I'm just kidding. Don't run. But we don't need to tell
Hmm.
people that. It is beyond that. Something that they can envision in their brain, because if someone can't picture it, it's really hard for them to remember it. So like creative, that word ties to a million things that you can then picture, right? It ties to color, it ties to design, it ties to ideas, the way you dress, like everything you just said, Kayla. So I really would challenge you to pick a word that really does have some type of visual, even if it's calm. Like if I said the word calm, that for me with a realtor feels really good, because that process can be so stressful. It can be very emotional, especially if you're selling or you miss out on an offer. Like I want my agent to be calm, like almost like grandmother like everything's going to be fine. Like
Yeah.
my grandma always said, life is like a roller coaster. You have your ups and downs, whatever. But like calm, you can envision almost zen like things. Like I envision this room at Sundara, Kayla, you were there, like where
Yep.
they had like surrounded by trees and there was a fireplace and it was just so calm and kind of moody, dark, or like a really like calming scent, or a yoga, or like you like that's what I
Hmm.
picture with calm. So like if you pick a visual word, it really will tie into more than you think. Even as we just go through this personal brand by Friday plan, a lot of your branding thoughts or words that people could use to describe you can truly become visuals and things that you actually start to pair with your content, start to document, start to talk about more, all the things. It gets me so excited. I get so excited talking about
Yes,
branding. It's
seriously.
so fun. Okay. Are we ready to start with day 1?
Yeah. So, day 1 is going to be about your brand menu. Now, we've mentioned brand menu a million times in this episode, but maybe this is your first time listening. And if so, hi. We're so glad to have you. Brand menu. To sum it up, brand menu is basically a mix of things that you are going to be associated with, or that you are going to be intentional in sharing throughout your content. So we kind of have like a little mix here. You want to have a little bit of obviously real estate. That's going to be something that, as we're talking about all of this personal brand stuff, real estate's always included in that because that's what you do, right?
That's like your anchor.
Yes, exactly. But then, like, you're going to have things that are like, okay, a couple of the examples we have, like an on brand beverage. Now, you guys, you're going to hear this and you're going to think, what the heck does that have to do with me getting more clients and staying top of mind? But like, let me tell you, it's these little tiny things that build trust and start conversations and build relatability. And then when people go out and about and they see a Stanley water bottle, or when they see even Starbucks, or when they see a McDonald's Diet Coke or whatever, they think of you, even if they don't say it out loud or think like, oh, that makes me think of, like, they're not going to say that, but they're going to think of you. They're going to be associated with that. When you include that in your content, they're going to see that. And without even seeing your face, they're going to think that's probably Chelsea's. Like that, even if they keep scrolling, you planted a little seed in their mind already with that little tiny thing. So like, ask yourself, what's something that you're always sipping on? You probably have it near you right now. How can you include that in your content?
That makes me think of going back to the descriptor words of calm. If that's your word, one of the words you want to describe you, your drink, your beverage is probably not Red Bull.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Like, it's just so different.
Yeah.
So, not that you have to start with the word, you could start with the beverage. Start with whatever feels natural. And like, we like to say, what are you doing anyways? Like, if you catch yourself like every day this week as you get in the car, what beverage is in that cup holder, or what is that first thing you grab in the morning? And what feels like you? Like, for example, I drink greens every morning for like a gut thing. I don't want that to be my beverage. That feels boring to me. It's just something that I literally drink as fast as I can and get over with. Like, it's not my branded beverage. So while I do it every day, I don't really talk about it. I don't really bring it into my content. Whereas like for me, it's always been wine, because wine is very conversational. I say it's like high end, but laid back. It's approachable. So like, I like the words that go along with wine. If you were more like a Red Bull, in fact, we interviewed a bunch of modern agent mamas the other day, and one girl, hers was specifically watermelon Red Bull. And like, that is the most specific on-brand beverage I've heard. She's like, but literally people message me and talk to me about it all the time. She's like, and
That's
it was
so
almost
funny.
accidental. Like, I wasn't even doing it on purpose to start. So don't be afraid to pick something that also is something you want to be your branded beverage, right?
Right. Exactly.
Another one is just part of your morning routine. Like, what is like a non-negotiable for you every morning? And this could be, we always get pushback with this of like, I don't really have a morning routine. That would be a branded thing. The no morning routine realtor, whatever. But no, it could also be something like every morning I end up spending like at least a half hour on the ground with my coffee, with all of the cars, whether it's Hot Wheels or the Pixar cars or monster trucks, like every single morning. Do I document that every day? No, we'll get there. But I am doing that every morning. So that may be a thing that you bring in. Like, you can usually find me on the floor of my playroom with my 3-year-old and some form of cars until 8:30 a.m., something along those lines. So your morning routine doesn't have to be this like glow up, Instagrammable, aesthetic routine, but it could be a walk with your dog, or a podcast that you listen to, or a meditation, or the way you make your coffee. If you make the same coffee every day, and I follow Margot Lloyd, who I love on Instagram, and she always makes this maple sea salt latte. I feel like she makes it every day. And it's like, now she has a reel where she'll send it to people who ask, like, what's the recipe? And it's just, that's what I think of when I think of her. And then in the afternoon, she has her Diet Coke. So she has 2 beverages. But
Yeah.
one of them is her morning routine, is like the process of making the coffee. So you will notice sometimes with the brand menu, things can overlap and things can connect. It doesn't always have to be like this rigid, like, this is my beverage, this is my routine. So don't be afraid to just like answer these as quickly as you can. Don't overthink them. But then as you start living it out, don't be afraid to let it change, or to be like, well, I actually do this way more. So like, no one knows what you're writing down here. Only you know what you're
Right.
writing down in these categories.
The other thing about a morning routine is like, even if you say you don't have one, I'm going to call you a liar. Everyone does something similar every single morning. There's always variations, but like, even for myself, I would not sit here and be like, let me tell you about my morning routine, because it's not this like big intentional part of my day. But every morning I'm packing lunches, sending kids out the door. I usually pop in my office, look at my calendar, see what I've got going on. I get ready, I do my hair, I usually listen to a podcast. Like, there are things that I'm doing every single day. Now, again, do I document all of that? No, because I'm trying to like hurry up and get ready. But one thing that I started doing, this was probably, gosh, like 2 years ago, I started taking like little selfies in my mirror next to my office almost every morning. That it wasn't because I was like, I take a selfie every morning. It's part of my routine. It's just because like I usually would look there, make sure I looked okay before I let the dog out and went on with my day. So to me, that was just like now it's like my cue, like stop and take a picture and then move on. So there are parts of your morning routine. It's not about like documenting everything and sharing everything and starting to record at 6 a.m. It's about like thinking to yourself, what could I intentionally share? And really, the beautiful thing about this prompt of this part of your brand menu is it starts your stories off right away. So you're not wondering like, I don't even know what to say on my stories today, or I don't even know what to. No, like you're just going to take that one quick picture or you're going to take that one quick video and post it. And then you're off to the races.
I'm still hoping to someday get Kayla's morning routine reel, even though I know your kids don't wanna be on it, but, like, if you could somehow do it, like, in the background, I think that I'm, like, dying to see
Without
it.
them knowing, oh my gosh, that
But
would
you
be
know what
quite funny.
the mirror selfie reminds me of? It's like you're clocking in.
Yeah,
It's like a clock in. It's just that little starting point to your stories, but for you, it doesn't have to be a mirror selfie. It could be the making of the coffee or the walking the dog or the putting shoes on or like maybe you love jewelry and fashion and it's like you're just putting earrings on in the mirror or a necklace and like that's literally it. Like it's just
yeah.
a
The
cue to
podcast you're
start.
listening to, the
Yeah.
audiobook you're listening to, the TV show that's on in the morning when you're getting your kids I mean, there's so many things, so many things. There's
Yeah.
a little something that sticks with you.
And honestly, too, I sometimes will document my playroom thing, but I don't every day.
Mhm.
A lot of times I end up documenting my book that I'm reading 10 pages of in the morning. Like I
Yeah,
do that a lot because I like don't want to get my phone out when I'm sitting there in the playroom with my son before like our day gets started and busy. So you can you can also mix them up. They don't have to be like if I pick this, that's all I'm going to be able to post for forever. No, it's not like that at all.
right.
So take it less seriously to decide and then take it seriously with how you implement.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna go on to our next one. We have a couple more here. I want to just add something here real quick, a little caveat. Remember, this whole thing is a personal brand by Friday. So what you just said there is so important. It's making quick decisions and it's like implementing it right away. In our membership, we have a much deeper, much more like meaty type of workbook. We have people work through and different like prompts. There's so much more you can do with all of this and like unlock all of these levels. This is level number 1. And it literally is just to give you like a jump start and give you a little bit of practice before you ever think about going to like level 2, right? So as you're listening, even if you're like more advanced with your personal brand and you're kind of thinking like this is like basic, it sounds like it, but there's so many more levels. I think we can take this so many different ways. This is literally just to like get you there by Friday. Our next one is a go-to local spot. So we hear it all the time. People are like, well, my town doesn't really have anything, or I don't, whatever. Like the truth is, every single person goes somewhere in their community on a regular basis. It can be the school pickup line, it can be the gas station that has your favorite crunchy ice, or even if you like their coffee or whatever. It can be the bank, it can be, you always mention the post office. Like there's so many simple little places. It doesn't have to be this adorable little coffee shop, even though that is it for a lot of people. Where do you go? What can you document throughout a week that is something local and recognizable that could spark conversations with people in your community?
On episode 69, we interviewed Emma Jordison, who is a Modern Agent member, and a lot of her centers around her kids and where they go. So it's where we go to get ice cream the second it's above 60 degrees, or the park that they're playing at, the library. Like, so it really, again, it always comes back to we're not trying to give you these prompts to create this extra work or, well, now I have to go do all this stuff. Like, absolutely not. Like, we are not in the business of document every single thing in town and make lists of it all and make it this like, are you a realtor or a local no. We just want you to literally share where you go and where you like to go and what like this little snippet of your life because it's relatable. It's relatable to the people who live there. They see it and they think, I know where that is, even if they don't go. Or they might be like, I should take my kids to that park. Or, oh my gosh, we should get ice cream this Friday. It's going to be 80. Like, it
Yeah.
just helps people think differently and then they tie that to you. It's happening subconsciously. It's not like they're like, okay, now that she posts this, I'm gonna no, it's just subconsciously happening. And it's a great way that brain chemistry works for your benefit because
Yeah.
it's how you become memorable. It's how your brand sticks in the brains of the people you want to think of you without reminding them, hey, just so you know, I can help you if you're looking to buy or sell. It's going to happen without you doing that. You're just the realtor who's getting ice cream with her kids. You're the realtor who's doing the morning routine that is basically chugging a cup of coffee before they talk to anyone. Like it doesn't have to be deep, but like Kayla said, this does go deep once you get going. But for a local spot, pick anything that makes sense. And maybe you don't go there 5 times a week, but that's fine. Like if you go once a month and you document it when you do go or you talk about it, it will start to add up for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So, local spots are cool as you're sharing about them because you can stay top of mind with people in your community or with your sphere and all of that. But, you also are painting the picture for anyone who's watching you at all of what life looks like when you live in your town. And, I don't live in a big town that people are like fighting to get into. But I will say there's a big place, it's Sweetwater, the biggest music store, I think, in the world, and it is about 20 minutes away from where I live. And I've helped a lot of people that worked there because word of mouth or whatever, like all buy houses. And it was so funny. Every one of them said, I don't really care what town I live in. I just want to be within about 20 minutes of where I work. So of course there's like 14 towns around. So I was able to, show all that stuff. But some of them were interested in where the town that I lived in because of how I talked about it. Because I was showing, like my kids' games or when we go to my husband's football games, what the community is like, or I was showing places that we like to go out to eat or like this band that we love to follow. Like when I show those things, even though my little town is like, it's a flyover town. There's lots of just farmland. It's nothing like wildly crazy, but it made it appear desirable and they like picture their life living there. That's what happens when you share local content. So even if of course, if you live in like this big city that people are so excited to move to, whatever, that feels easier to do, but it's just as powerful, even if you live in a small, sleepy town.
On the flip side of that, if you're sitting there thinking, I have so many places I want to share, like how do I narrow it down? I recently heard someone describe, and you could apply this to anything with marketing, but they said pick a major and pick a minor. So, like, your major is like this kind of is my go to. And in the context of this person saying this, they train insurance producers to sell commercial insurance and they don't want them just speaking to the masses. They want them to have like a niche. And it's really hard for people to do that. So they say you have to pick a major and a minor. So what's your main focus and what's your secondary focus? But you can do that with branding. So whether it's the morning routine thing, the beverage thing, or even like which of these categories we're talking about is more of your major, but even local spots. Like, well, I go to a lot of parks and do a lot of kid activities. So that's like my main, but we also do date night here and there. And I think it's fun to share my like go-to local spots. You can share both. But
Yeah.
when you have like the major in mind, it helps you kind of focus more on that one and not always feel the need to be documenting everything, but that when you are doing more of the major category, you are more intentional and mindful to capture something or document it or talk about it or bring it into a piece of content.
Absolutely. We talk about personal branding all the time, but maybe that sounds complicated. But what if I told you you could have a personal brand by Friday?
We're giving you a simple week-long plan with clear action steps to follow Monday through Friday, so by the end of the week, you have everything you need to start standing out in your market.
Click the link in the show notes to grab your personal brand by Friday guide so you can get started today. Okay, the next one is a fun one, and it is a TV show or network. So again, this is like the very, very basics of a brand menu. But the idea here is, even if you're like, I don't watch TV, the idea here is, what do you do for fun after a long day of real estate? That's the whole premise, right? So if you don't really watch TV, but you love, going and sitting in your sauna or your hot tub, or if you love just reading books with your kids, if you love reading a book on the couch, like whatever that thing is for you, the TV show and network is kind of like it's a cue for like, what do you like to do to like wind down, especially after you've been showing real estate. Basically, it's kind of like your clock out. Like, I have the part of the morning routine is your clock in. This is your clock out signal. So you can like think of, I mean, I don't know, like obviously for me, it's like Friends or like a documentary or gosh, last night we started How I Met Your Mother again. All of those shows, those are just something I feel good. It's been a long day. I'm gonna watch these shows.
I feel like everyone knows mine, but in case you don't, it is currently reality TV.
Right.
Southern Charm is the top, Summer House is the second, and then all the other ones come after that. But I just like mindless. I mean, I feel like I'm cheating on Friends because I have been not super loyal to them. They were like
I
my
won't
go-to for
tell.
so long. And I still will watch it and I'll be like all obsessed again. But I like, for some reason, like in this phase of business and motherhood and life, a reality show that just completely takes me out of, I just like
Yeah.
mindless TV. I can just relax. I'm not like super focused, paying in depth attention. Like it's just so easy to watch and fun. That's like mine right now. And my mom was just telling me, and this was just this morning, she listens to a podcast and she's like, yeah, this podcast I listened to, I forgot what it's called now. She's like, she also loves Bravo shows. So she always talks about the shows and like what happened last night. And she's like, the podcast has nothing to do with
Mm-hmm.
Bravo. It's like wellness or something. But that's the brand menu of
Yeah.
the wellness person, right? Is that she brings in these pops of like, maybe it's for a minute, right? It's not like the whole episode is about a Bravo show, but it makes it fun for my mom to listen to because she too likes reality shows. So it's like she's listening for the wellness, but then she can relate to the other part. And if you don't like the other part, it's like almost still fun to just listen to it because it's like a little mini, like, it's like almost like a commercial. Like, ooh, like what are they talking about before we dive into this deep topic today? And that's kind of how you can think with real estate. Like, no, you're not going to make your account all about Bravo or How I Met Your Mother or Friends, but it's this little pop that's like, oh, I've seen that, or I haven't, or I don't want, like, it doesn't even matter if it directly connects, but it will cause you to have a lot of conversations when you do bring that up because there are going to be a lot of people that can relate to that late night or like after kids are in bed or just escape show or like Kayla said, going in the sauna, or you're going to have a question. What sauna is that? Do you like it? We've been thinking of getting one. Like all that stuff starts coming up, right? And I don't think you need to document the same exact thing every night. Like we don't do the same thing every night, right? But it's just here and there. It's a conversation starter. And
Yeah.
as you continue to do it, then people think of that when they think of you too, just like everything else.
Okay, so that's a little like glimpse of your brand menu. But let's go on to the next part, which, speaking of things that are like visual, things that you want people to see and think of you, let's talk about your brand photos. I did love Emma's episode. I believe that was last week. Emma's episode, she talked about how she does her brand photos. So if you have not listened to that, go back and listen to it because it's like exactly what we would recommend for people to do. But the idea here is this. Most of us as agents have professional headshots that are perfect for like our business cards or for our signs or any marketing materials, whatever. It's important to have good, clear, crisp, professional photos. We love them, love them, love them. However, when it comes to social media, the style of photos that tend to perform the best are iPhone photos that are kind of full of little imperfections. Now, when I say imperfections, they're kind of, again, done intentionally, especially like when you talk about like candid style photos where maybe you're not looking at the camera perfectly or your hair's kind of, tossing back and there's a little bit of a blur or you're tossing your bag or whatever. Like those little tiny like imperfections feel more in the moment, feel more candid. They feel more like people are right there with you. That's what performs really, really well for Instagram. So, inside our guide, we actually have photos that we want you to kind of like recreate. And we have like little notes with them too that kind of explain, like, don't just take this verbatim, but like, insert your brand in here. But those little tiny intentional decisions that you're making, even in the photos that you're sharing, can really bring your brand to life online.
With getting photos like this, I feel like it truly is an art to go from maybe when we thought, okay, to get my brand on social media, I should get a brand photo shoot. And then I'll put those photos with my content and everything will look really good and aesthetic. With the whole iPhone photo being more of the content people are craving because it feels like it's from your camera roll. It feels authentic. It feels like I'm not looking at this perfectly curated, ongoing grid of people. Like, what I think changed that so much is that Instagram, like we're using it as an escape. Like we're opening Instagram to be entertained, and not that we always like to see pretty things. So I'm not saying like a messy photo or like horrible photography,
No.
but it's just more authentic photos that you maybe snapped that selfie in the mirror, or you took that selfie shot in the car, or it's like the actual coffee you're carrying. Something about it just feels relatable because it's not a photo shoot. It's not out of a like polished magazine looking vibe, right? Like it just feels like, oh, I'm right there with her. She didn't like go perform to get this content. But there
Right.
is an art to getting good iPhone photos like this. And I think that's people's biggest hurdle, along with actually like what to take the photo of. And I will say it does take practice, but the more you do it, the easier it becomes. You start to notice really simple things that make the photo look better. Like, for example, if I'm taking a picture of my book and my coffee, and my book is like a really ugly color, then I probably won't have a coffee cup that's like a color that totally doesn't match that. Like it just
Mhm.
bothers me. So
Yeah.
there's just little things like that that you'll start to notice. Or, and at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, but there is something to be said about colors that go together and like using natural light. And I'll try to give it some white space in a shot, whereas like you don't want to zoom too far in, but not too far out. Like there are little things like that, but that's why we have in this guide photos that you can replicate, because it will show you like, okay, well, this one looks like there's a lot of white space around her. So I need more of like a blank wall, or maybe my garage door would work great, right? Or this one's in the car and it's zoomed a little further out. So I'm going to put my selfie camera on and then zoom it as far out as it goes and then hold my on brand beverage. Like, so it's showing you like where to sit, what to do. And in our membership, we actually give our members these every single month with specific details so that they know exactly what to take the picture of. Because if we just say, take pictures with your iPhone, like, I don't know what you're going to take pictures of, right? It's like getting the iPhone photos of your listing and they're like, oh my God, no. Like, so what my biggest tip is look at the pictures we have, or look at pictures as you scroll Instagram or Pinterest, save ones that you like, and just try to identify what about it you like exactly. Like, I like that it's closer up, or I like that they really zoomed in on the coffee cup and the buyer folder or something. Like you can replicate those, not copy them, but replicate the way it was taken. And that's like makes it so much easier than just opening your phone and being like, what do I take a picture of right now? So
Well, and again, as you improve this skill and as you practice, 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 and again, even inside our membership, how we're always like moving people along to the next phase and showing them what else they can do, you're going to find that you can get to a point where if you got up in the morning, got dressed, got ready, and spent 10 minutes taking some photos, between the photos that you take of yourself, of your props, of your like details of your outfit, but then also the little video clips that you take, because you're also doing B-roll and you're zooming in and you're zooming out and you're walking and you're talking and you're laughing and all those things, you would end up with so much content. It would blow your mind. Now, again, as if you're looking at this list and you're thinking like, I don't even know if I could recreate one of these. That's fine. Like that, you have to start somewhere. But like what we love is like helping agents really develop this skill so that they can get to a point where they're like literally showing up like a content creator and still having plenty of time and brain space and energy for their clients, for their showings, for all the things that they actually have on their plate to do that day.
I will say the hardest part about creating content is having good photos and B-roll. So if you take this part seriously and you do get in the habit of even once a week doing this for 10 minutes, after 4 weeks, you'll be better. After another 4 weeks, you'll be better. And you'll have 50 photos in an on-brand album. And eventually you'll be like, okay, those were really not that good, but you're never going to get better if you don't start. So I would
Yeah.
just start and just know, if you see like one of the photos in the guide, it's like a shot of someone in the car holding coffee and it's like from the back seat. So you'll have to have someone take that for you, obviously. But like if you're just like, I really like this, but in the moment I'm alone, just flip it around, take it from the front view, and
Yeah.
they'll see like that you're still in the car. I think I've talked about her before, but Balance with Brit on Instagram does a ton of like in the front seat of her car shots, and she'll like talk on camera and stories in there. And I'm like, she is the perfect setting for a realtor, because you're always in your car, meeting clients, going to showings, going to listings, and it just feels so on brand, but it's going to look different for every single one of you because you're going to be in it. Your accessories, what you're wearing, your on brand beverage is going to make it look so different. And that's what makes your content so good
Mhm.
is having those photos that no one else can have that are you. They're literally of you, and they're not overly professional where it feels like someone produced this. It feels like
Right.
she just snapped that and is telling me a story today in the car. Like,
Yeah.
we're sitting here and connecting.
And you know what's even cooler is, like, I don't even think they're gonna think, "Oh, she took that picture," and these types of photos almost tell a story and, like, bring people in to your world where they're not even thinking about, like, "How much time does she spend taking photos?" Or, "I wonder how she got that shot." Like, they're literally just like, "Oh, where's she going today? Like, what are
Yes.
we doing?" You know? So it's like it's really cool, and again, it takes a little bit of practice, but when you get the guide, there are 9 photos that you can start with. At least start with 3 of them and, like, work your way through them. And, of course, like, as you're taking these photos, you're gonna get some with some variations too, right? It's not like you're just gonna take 1 photo and be like, "Okay, I'm gonna change my outfit and change the scene." Take a few photos while you're there. You could actually end up with, like, 50 some photos just from this one guide, and if you kind of pay attention to the angles and, like you said, like, the white space, the drinks, the props, all of that stuff, you could end up with a lot of content that you could do so much with.
Do you know what I did the other day is I kept taking a photo and I was in it with a beverage and I just didn't like the angle. So I was like, "You know what? I'm going to stick my phone right here, turn the video on and just kind of move a couple of different times as I like sip the drink, move the straw, look different ways." And then I just played the video and I screenshotted the one
Yeah,
and I went slow enough that I could screenshot it without it looking bad or like blurry. But, like, then I got the perfect shot. Otherwise, you're, like, constantly sitting there, like, pushing the button or tapping the camera button, and I'm like, the video thing, it's just unlocked. And there's also an app called Lens Buddy, I think, and you can set, like, a timer and say, like, "I want you to rapid fire 20 shots." So that also works. I was just too lazy to open that app apparently, but that it will take, like, 20 shots in a row, like, rapid fire, and then you can go through and be like, "Okay, this is the best angle." And that's just, like, a quick way because if you're doing one at a time, it gets so tedious. But I would also almost give yourself a time limit, like, "I'm gonna spend 20 minutes on this and I'm done." Because if you just give yourself "I'm gonna do this on Friday," A, you'll probably not do it because you didn't build it into your calendar, but B, you'll probably spend way too long because 'cause you'll overthink and overperfect each photo. But if you know, "I only have 20 minutes, it's Parkinson's law," you're just gonna the time allotted will get done what you wanted to get done.
exactly. Okay, so let's move on then. The next one is just like talking about your actual aesthetic. So, again, your photos are really going to help with that, but also what you do with the photos. Like, let's talk about like pulling those photos into Canva, the graphics that you choose, the fonts, the colors, all of those things. Again, this guide itself doesn't go into like all of like the psychology behind all of that, but it's just like the overall rules of like making your aesthetic work for you and making your content really like work for you and for Instagram. One of the best tips I think that's in this section is like when you're creating a graphic, it's so easy to get excited about everything that you can do with a photo or with text or with little elements inside Canva that it's easy to kind of do a little bit of everything. And then now there are, of course, some brands that are a little bit more like vibrant and fun and busy, and that's fine too. But like for the most part, when I create graphics, I will like put it all together. And then I usually think like, what can I delete and still have it work well? Still have it kind of give that same vibe. That way it's not too busy. There's not too much going on. And you don't want it to distract from you, from your photo, from your face, and all of those things. So there's a couple little like suggestions inside this little section that I think are helpful.
Okay. Let's quickly recap the first 3 days so you know what day is what. So Monday is brainstorming your brand menu using those cues that we went through. Tuesday is to pick the 5 photos you're going to recreate from the workbook and then write down what props you'll need. And then Wednesday is actual photo day. So that's where we went through the photo tips. Sorry, we got lost on the days because we got too excited. And then now we're on Thursday, which is okay, you have your photos done and we're going to make an on-brand album in your phone that you can save all these photos in. And as you continue to take new photos, you'll add them there. So this isn't really like a major step. The biggest part of this personal brand by Friday is identifying those brand cues from like in your brand menu and then getting these photos done. Obviously, part of getting the photos done is picking your props and your settings and which photos you're going to recreate from the guide. But then we want you to basically just organize it right from the get-go so you have them all in one place to reach and grab from. I would also upload all of these into Canva right when you have them. So then they're all in there. You can actually make folders in Canva too of your uploads. So you could even make a folder called On Brand or whatever you want to name it, or like photo shoot, and then put all those photos in that folder. So when you do go to create content, they're all in there together. And then is there anything else we want to add for Thursday before we get to Friday?
The other thing that you could do too, like even if you take a few B-roll clips during this as well, like if you're like, hey, I grabbed whatever, put those into Canva too. We love we love creating our actual like reels and stuff inside either like Instagram or edits or whatever, just to make it simple. You can use Canva, obviously. But the thing that I like about having the B-roll clips inside Canva is because you can also, like, as you're creating like a photo carousel or like here's what we did last month or whatever, you can add videos to that in the place of where like a photo would be, just to give your carousel a little bit more like visual interest and depth. So I would still put those in there as well. And then obviously on your phone. Now, and of course, you're going to have some photos that just turn out terrible that you're never going to use. Honestly, just delete them. Like, there's no need to keep them just because, like, well, here's all my photos. Like, if there's any that you're like, I don't like how I look in that, I don't like that angle, just delete it and move on. But the more that you can, like, delete those, focus on the ones that you really love, look through your B-roll, look through your photos, all of that. That's going to be the best way for you to create content in like a timely manner, and feel good about the content that you're putting out there because you already have all your photos. You like all of them. Pick one and move on.
And remember too, you can use those photos more than once. If you put a photo into a carousel or you put a B-roll into a reel, you can use it again and again. You could use it in another reel with multiple B-roll clips, and that's just one of them. You could use it in a carousel again, but like maybe one carousel has more of a design and the next carousel you use it in, it's more just like simple text on screen, kind of swiping through where it's almost telling that story feel. But use them again and again because that also brands you. When people, I'm not saying take 3 photos and use them for every single post from here on out, but when you have that same type of photos and same look, or even that same blue shirt you wore or whatever appear throughout your grid, it just feels recognizable. We don't always need a brand new one. We're not fashion influencers showing different outfits in our reels. Like, we just need people to remember who we are and remember what we say and what to say about us when they are in a room with someone else or at lunch with someone else. Okay. So now we're on Friday. So we got a lot done this week. You guys, this is so doable. This is why we love this, why we put this together. It is so, so doable. We're not giving you post 8 million times or take 6,000 photos or figure out your brand colors. Like, this truly is step one. And we get way deeper, like Kayla said, at Modern Agent. But this is like, you can't do step 5 if you didn't do step 1. So this is truly step 1. Or if you even, like I said at the beginning, you have a brand, this is just going to help you refine. And maybe even when you're picking those 5 photos, like, you're going to just really aim to get the 5 photos that really truly reflect the brand vibe that you want. Like, whether it's like bright and fun and vibrant, or it's like more moody and neutral, or it's like bright neutral, like whatever it is for you, you can just refine, like, use this guide to refine what you're already doing, because we always refine. Like, that's always required, having a brand, that you're not just going to do it once and then you're like, the old school way of branding is, I'm going to have a brand designer give me 5 colors and a logo and a 5 Canva templates and I'm good for life. Like, that's never going to happen, especially the way Instagram is right now. We're not saying you have to reinvent the wheel, but it's always going to evolve as you evolve as an agent, as a business owner, as a human, all the things. So now we are ready for Friday. So we're going to take everything we talked about and put it into practice by adding that personal brand to a piece of content, which we are also giving you in the Personal Brand by Friday guide.
So the hook for this piece of content that we're giving you is my application to be your real estate emergency contact. Throughout it, and we don't need to go over every single page, but throughout it, there are 5 pages of this carousel. So a couple things to note. First of all, we used the same photo as the background in every single slide. You can do that if you're like, I love this one, or I only took a few that I really like. I'm going to use one. That's great. If you're like, oh my gosh, I just got all these pictures of myself that I love and I want to throw them all in here, that's fine too. What I like about it when it is just one photo, I like that it is easy to focus on the words that you're saying because it's kind of like a book, like you're just telling a story as you go along. So I do purposely like that. It's not a matter of like, oh, this was easier, so I did it. I like it intentionally, but you can always add other photos in there. Even little things like we have like a little heart emoji next to emergency contact. It's pink and it has like those little like gold stars. If you're like, oh my gosh, I hate the color pink, or I would never use a heart, or I'm much more of like a star person, or I'm much more of a, emoji face, or whatever it would be, switch that out, please. Like, make it look and feel more like you. But the idea here is as you go through, there are just like little tiny cues that give you an opportunity to put in your personal brand. So, like, page 4, for example. Page 4 says, like, whether it's about real estate or your latest book club reads, keep me in your back pocket just in case. Obviously, if book club has nothing to do with your brand, don't even remember the last book that you read, you're going to want to erase that. So what other kind of things could we put in there? For example, whether it's about real estate, because obviously that's a part of all of our brands, right? We're all in real estate. So whether it's about real estate or and then it can be anything. So let's look at your brand menu again. It could be like about your morning Diet Coke. It could be about your evening glass of wine, or the Savvy Bee that you watch when you're watching Bravo or whatever, right? It could be something that's part of your morning routine, like your outfit of the day. It could be like as far as your local spot. It could be like, so it could say whether it's about real estate or the something library that has the section that you love to hang out in, or wherever. Like, pull in those specific examples that you already mapped out, that you have decided you want to intentionally sprinkle that in. Add them there, because it's so easy to look at these things and think like, oh, I didn't read a book, but it could be like my latest like audiobook or latest podcast. But what if you've already decided that that's not something that you really want to share all the time? Then it feels out of place. It feels random. It's like, what are you talking about? But when it's something that you're intentionally saying, no, I want to share this more often, then refer to that list and add it in there, sprinkle it in, and then it makes your content feel so much more cohesive and more memorable.
You can keep it more broad too, where you could say and talk about local parks. Like, and then they know, oh, she's going to talk about local parks, or talk about weekly yoga class, or like the smoothie I'm drinking this week. Like, you can make it really anything. Like, there is no answer that I'll say, nope, that doesn't work. Unless you don't like that as something you want to be known for. That's the
Right.
only filter you really need right there is, do I want someone to also think of this when they think of me? Yes or no? That can go there. So you can put a couple things, like it could be like latest book club read and every local park I'll be spending this summer at with my kids, or it could be just the book club. So you can like keep it as simple and straightforward, or like use that as an opportunity to add a couple splashes. Those are your connectors. Those are the pieces that are going to be something someone says like, "Oh my gosh, me too," or "Where are you
Yeah.
going?" or "I'm also drinking that." And that's where we're having the conversations that get you not only in their brains to think of your name, but you're having conversations with people who now feel connected to you personally because you're talking to them, right?
Exactly. So that's kind of it. And again, maybe it sounds too easy and too simple, but it really is that simple. Now, the key to really making this work for you is to do this again and again and again, to share content that gives you cues where you can add your personal brand, to share your photos week after week after week. That's what happens. It's so easy to fall into this trap of sharing a post like this, that maybe you've been in the habit of sharing like your just listeds and just solds and testimonials and all of that, and all of a sudden you share this. I'm going to be honest with you. You're going to get one of two reactions. You're either going to get 5,000 people saying like, oh my gosh, I love that. Or you're going to have people where it feels like crickets, because they don't even know what to do with it. Both of those things wouldn't surprise me, because it's completely new. You've never done this before, and your audience doesn't know how to respond to it quite yet. It doesn't mean that you did anything wrong. It means that you need to continue to post in this way, to show up in this way, to share in this way, to start and to have look for those opportunities to have conversations over the things that are in your brand menu. When you do that, the more that you share content like this, the more of a positive reaction you're going to get. And then where you're going to get people who are like, oh my gosh, me too. Or that sounds like a dream, or I would love to do this with you or whatever. It's through the continued action and through not giving up and like putting it into practice again and again and again that you're actually going to get results with your personal brand.
And if you've ever wondered, like, how will all this actually connect? How will this get me clients? All the things that personal brands will do, like all these little micro things, they compound over time to not only build your brand, but that's going to be the thing that makes someone say your name, send you a referral, reach out when they're ready. And we're actually going to do an entire episode on how to focus more on those micro conversions, not just related to personal branding, but other things you can do on social media that over time lead to long-term business, because it's really not about like, if this goes viral, that'll be it for me, right? Because going viral only means that's a one-time thing. It doesn't continue anything for you. So we want to really learn the strategies to how can we ongoing have these micro conversions essentially that will get me to be more referred, remembered, trusted, and hired by the people you want to work with. So that's coming, I think, in 2 weeks from this episode.
Or next week, yeah.
Or next week. But we're so excited for that. And as we went through this, I just want to say one more thing. We talked a lot about like, well, you can put this in your story or whatever, but we didn't really dive into those strategies. If you are like, I want more, I want to know like, what is the next big step for me? Like after I get through this guide, your next best move is to join Camp Modern Agent. Our next session is May 18th, and you can register at the link in the show notes, or you can go to modernagentsocialclub.com/camp.
It's if you're listening to it in real time. So if you are listening to this later and that date's already passed, we always have another camp coming up. So you can always go to that website. You can always register and then join the next one. This has become something that like we started camp as like let's just really help agents like see what's possible for them. And what we found is that like it really unlocked a lot of things in the agents' brains of like, oh, like this, I actually am capable of doing this. And we saw them like put that into action. So now we're like, shoot, let's go all in on camp. Let's show people how to do this. And like camp is all about like your personal brand and what this means for you. And like even the mindset you have to have going into it and showing you what's really possible. So we'd love to have you there.
This has been so fun. I can't wait for you to have a personal brand up and running by Friday. And we hope to see you at camp. And if not, we'll see you next Tuesday.
Bye.
I'm so glad we got to hang out today. If you're as sad as I am that our time is up, I've got good news. There are a couple of different ways we can keep the conversation going.
First, follow us on Instagram at Modern Agent Marketing Girls and introduce yourself in the DMs. Also, we always have a free Modern Agent resource available, so check out today's show notes for the goods.
And finally, hang out with other go-to real estate girls like you and finally create a marketing plan that works when you join Modern Agent Social Club. All the details are in today's notes.
XOXO, the Marketing Girls.